the war in Ukraine has seen an insane mix of weapons, everything from World War II tanks to modern hypersonic missiles. But one of the most famous and destructive systems out there, the US-made HIMARS rocket launcher. Back in late 2022 and throughout 2023, these HIMARS units, supplied by the US and allies, caused huge damage on Russian front lines, and even behind them, they were a game-changer, especially during Ukraine's counteroffensive in Kharkiv, helping Kiev reclaim a lot of lost territory. But things changed. As Russia improved its countermeasures and getting more HIMARS became harder, their effectiveness started to drop, and that's when Ukraine got creative. They started developing medium-range strike drones that could do the same job as HIMARS, but at a fraction of the cost. Now a quick look at HIMARS. The Lockheed Martin M142 built in the 90s carries either 6 rockets or one big ATACMS missile. It sits on a 5-ton truck chassis, combining speed, firepower, and mobility, and is perfect for shoot-and-scoot operations, move in, fire, and get out before the enemy can react. With drones constantly watching the front, staying put is basically a death sentence. HIMARS was especially valuable because it could hit medium-range targets anywhere from a few dozen to a few hundred miles away. Supply depots, barracks, command posts, artillery, air defense systems, you name it. By the end of 2023, Russian military blogger Myrat Khairulin admitted they had wreaked havoc, forcing the Russian rear to rebuild constantly. Ukraine got at least 39 HIMARS launchers and thousands of rockets. From late 2022 to mid-2024, they hammered Russian forces. But over time, Russian electronic jamming started making them less accurate. By mid-2023. Their hits weren't as precise, and Russian media began claiming a lot of HIMARS had been damaged or destroyed. Still, Ukraine kept using them selectively, like in October 2025 when they hit the Belgorod Reservoir Dam, flooding logistics routes for Russian troops. So, what's the problem? HIMARS use dropped, leaving a gap in Ukraine's ability to hit medium to long-range targets, command posts, supply hubs, radar systems, air defenses, anything 20 to several hundred miles from the front. And that's where drones come in. Ukraine turned to its strong drone tech and created mid-range strike UAVs, filling the gap between short-range FPV drones and long-range strike drones. These mid-range drones are tricky to make. Unlike GPS-guided long-range drones, they need a live operator link for navigation and targeting. They have to beat Russian electronic warfare and interceptors, requiring advanced communications, terminal guidance, and even low-altitude flight. Early models used cheap components, so multiple drones were needed per target. Over time, upgrades improved effectiveness. By spring 2025, over 400 mid-range drones were deployed. Some of the notable ones, Rubaka and Khaki, flying up to 125 miles with warheads of several pounds, Bulava and Ram-2X, reaching 62 miles to strike radar and air defense systems, and the FP2, a redesign of the FP1, now carries up to 220 pounds of explosives over 125 miles. NATO take out heavily fortified targets, like a $200 million S-400 launcher in Crimea. Production isn't easy, though. Ukraine faces procurement issues, funding limits, and the challenge of standardizing warheads. Some companies like Deviro have helped by supplying drones directly to specialized units. Russia will likely develop counters eventually, just like with HIMARS, but if Ukraine can mass-produce these drones efficiently, it could seriously disrupt Russian logistics. Today, mid-range drones are now a core part of Ukraine's unmanned systems forces, alongside reconnaissance drones, interceptors, electronic warfare tools, and short and long-range UAVs. They help expand the kill zone, hitting high-value targets, while HIMARS are reserved for special missions. And with production ramping up, these drones are only going to become more important in the fight. We'll keep tracking the story and bring you updates as it unfolds.